What is going on, people? And welcome back to totalozspurs. Everton won, Tottenham won, and what can we say? It's another Spursy performance. We didn't play too well. I think we're very lackluster going in the final third. We kind of played like Conte was still our manager, and as much as I wanted Stellini to kind of solidify his own um, performance, his own formation, seems like he's just following Conte's footsteps, which is quite. I don't even know why any of us are surprised. Um, the team was pretty much what we expected, considering the injuries to Davies. Obviously no Bentancur still. So pretty. We had the team out there to actually do something. Like Perisic on the left, I don't think he does much. He doesn't help some when he's on the left, but he's the only left wing back that we have. So the fact that he was playing, kind of figured that he would play a back five. Now, Kane obviously gets his goal with the penalty, blatant penalty. However, I don't think we did too much to pepper Everton's goal, considering that the team stats were Tottenham 8 shots and 2 on target, as opposed to Everton's 15 to 6 on target. So when you look at those stats, I know with possession we had 61% possession. Everton had 39%. We made nearly 600 passes. They only made just under 400. We had 84% pass accuracy, all that sort of stuff. Like those stats can kind of say that we dominated the game. However, Everton looked like the more threatening team. They seemed to flow. They seemed to be urgent in attack. They knew what their task was. Going into this weekend, West Ham had won. They were I think they were conjoined points on the on relegation. If I'm looking at it now, they would have been on the same points as Leeds, 26 points, and with that draw, it put them up to 15th with 27. However, they're only 1 point above Leeds in 18th, 2 points above Leicester in 19th. So for them, it was a must win to keep them away from the relegation zone, and they played like it. They were very good going forward. Their midfield seemed to combine well with their wingers. The likes of Damari Gray seemed to have a lot of triangles, and we just they lost the ball a fair bit. We did press fairly well, but we didn't do anything with it. We didn't really attack. There's a header that Kane should have got that was put on his head by Perisic for a quick cross that he should have buried. I know he buried his penalty, but we expect him to bury those. But apart from that, I didn't really see much. Kulu again was fairly quiet. Sonny was very quiet again. The midfield didn't really do much. I feel like Højbjerg was a detriment to the midfield. Again, I feel like Højbjerg has these lately, especially this season, he has those where he has 2 good games and 3 bad games or 4 bad games, or where he's non-existent in the midfield. I don't think Højbjerg's the player going forward. He's done well for us in the last 2 seasons. I think he is more comfortable with Bentancur there, but I just don't think that. I think Skip can do what Højbjerg does, and he's much younger. So for me, I'm not saying sell him. Højbjerg's a good squad player, very good coming in. But I think we need better next year. But Skip played okay, threw himself at everything, got an early yellow, which he really shouldn't have. Same with Romero, once again. It's a few tackles out wide, considering they've got the likes of Dwight McNeil and Damari Gray, who can whip a good ball in. I don't know why Romero, once again, gets a yellow for being rash. As much as he can be a good defender, I feel like his decision-making and the way the passion he has to go into tackles can let him down at times. Probably better off if he had better defenders next to him, because the likes of Dyer and Langley, even though Langley had a decent first half, he needs to do better. I was quite upset that Forster got dropped. The Reece comes back straight into the team, and I just feel like he just didn't. He didn't move for that. Once again, and we've talked about it multiple times this season, a shot goes towards goal and Lloris just stands there and watches it. He had time. I'm going to say it. Looking at it, he had time. He knew the trajectory of the ball. There was no one blocking his view. He stood there and he thought it was going out, and Kane shot buried into the back of the net. He could have made an attempt, even just an attempt to stop that ball. And once again, he's ball watching, and I feel like Forster would have tried to palm that away. I'm not saying he would have saved it because it was a great shot by Michael Keane. However, I feel like Forster would have tried to get a hand to it. And once again, Lloris stood there and watched. I don't think Forster should have been dropped. I don't think he did anything really wrong. Got beaten at the near post a few times. About 2 or 3 games that he's played to replace Lloris. But apart from that, he's been fairly decent. So I think Stellini got it wrong there. And apart from that, it was a disgraceful defence in the last 15 minutes. Mora gets a red card for a stupid tackle. And I lost to Corey early, and I will say there is a lot going around about Kane flopping or diving or rolling around. I'm sorry, but if someone puts their hand in your face, even if they don't scratch you, even if they just grab it lightly, any player, 99% of players are dropping to the floor like they've been shot by a sniper. So the fact that Kane gets ridiculed for doing this when the likes of Gabriel Jesus would do this, the likes of De Bruyne would do it, the likes of, Phil Foden would do it, Grealish, Rashford, Anthony, all these players, if they were touched like that in a game, especially a game when they're 1-0 up, actually, no, I don't think we're 1-0 up, we're actually 0-0 still then, players are going to do it. So I think it's ridiculous the fact that people are coming out and saying that Kane flopped and that it was a joke, because any other player in the league would have done the same thing. Give Kane credit to his penalty shot. Should have scored another goal with that header. Apart from that, I'm going to say it. The players need to be accountable. Once again, I think Conte was right. The way he came out and spoke in his last press conference that ultimately got him the sack or mutual agreement of leaving, whichever you want to call it. He was right. The players don't have the backbone. And when are we going to start holding the players accountable for their actions? We had a strong enough squad out there. We knew what we'll fight for top 4. Newcastle just beat United 2-0 the day before. They went into third. If we had won, we would go into third. I think it'd be 2 points above Newcastle. They have 2 games in hand still, same as United, but we would still be sitting at third spot. And I've always said, games in hand don't mean shit. It's the points on the board. Because like last season with us and Arsenal, every time we had a game in hand, it was the pressure. And then if we were ahead, as soon as we dropped those points, Arsenal would overtake us. Then we were behind. They had games in hand, but we would win because the pressure would be off of us. The pressure would be onto them, and vice versa. To keep going until eventually we got top 4. So for me, the players don't have the mentality. Mora getting a red card so late in the game was stupid. It was just game management. No one was rushing out to stop Keane from hitting that. He's a centre-back. Why are we... The only person that went for a dive was Skip. No one was coming out to him. Skip and Højbjerg did poor there, and we seem to do very poor overall in stopping those shots just in front of the defence. The centre defences either seem to be out of position or they never press, and then the defenders don't push out. And, we brought on Sanchez to try and solidify the defence to win a 1-0 win. And Everton just took their chances. They pushed. And I'm going to say it, as much as I wanted Conte out, and I do believe his system wasn't good enough for Spurs in terms of the way we want to play. Obviously, he didn't get the players he wanted either. So it's a culmination of multiple things. I wanted Conte gone, not just because I didn't like his system, but because I felt like he wasn't going to get backed. Ultimately, he wasn't going to get back the way he needed it to. So the club let him down. The scouting system let him down. Paratici let him down. Levy let him down. And then ultimately for me, Conte kind of not as much to blame, but he could have tried to change his tactics and he didn't. So I feel like he's partial to blame, but I think it's an overall blanket. The whole club is to blame for the position that we're in right now, the way that we play. And the players need to look at themselves in the mirror. The likes of, there's 4 players that kind of I'd keep from that team after seeing that performance. It'd be Kane, Porro. Porro has been immense since he after that first Dross game against Leicester. He has been one of our best players in nearly every game. Looks like he wants to get that ball. Looks like he wants to whip it in. If Dwight McNeil didn't make a great clearance, Porro was in at the back post from a great cross from Perisic. I will say Perisic's delivery today was a lot better than what we've seen in the past, but defensively he's shit. So we kind of want the best of both worlds. We don't want to have Perisic going forward, putting in good crosses, and then letting someone in the back for them to put crosses in. But apart from that, I feel like Romero and Kulu, who are both very hot and cold at the moment, especially Kulu. I don't know what's wrong with him. Maybe he isn't fully fit from his injury and he's just coasting through, playing every game, thinking that he'll come good. Apart from those 4, like even Sonny today scored it internationally. Got the likes of Jurgen Klinsmann as his new international manager, and didn't look like he was going to score today. And we need the likes of Kulu, the likes of Son. If Mora comes on, which I don't understand why Danjuma is not getting a game. It's a question to be asked by Stellini. And I know he did say that he liked Danjuma, but at the end of the day, Mora's leaving at the end of the season. Danjuma could end up staying with us. We could actually end up signing him if he performed well. The guy hasn't had a chance to do anything. And for me, his footwork's a lot better than Mora. He's quicker than Mora. And he can play on that left flank and he can play on the right. I'm pretty sure he can play on the right. So I don't know why we don't try him out. It's just one of those things of we seem to just disregard players regardless of how shit the players that are starting. And it was like under Poch where Ali was playing dog shit and Ericsson was playing dog shit for a season, but they both still got into the game. Nuno had his own 11 that he never wanted. He didn't want to change it. Mourinho, his strike force when, Kane and Son were doing so well, but everybody else, like the likes of Harry Winks, Mourinho kind of did trying to change it a little bit, but not as much. He didn't have the players to do it. And then Conte doesn't seem to want to be able to drop Emerson Royale, doesn't want to drop Son, but drops Kulu when Son's playing shitter than Kulu. When Kane needs a rest, doesn't put him on the bench. In midfield, we said, doesn't drop Dyer. Only dropped Dyer for 1 game because of the shocker that he had the game before. Like it's a combination of things, and it's ultimately the players also need to be accountable for their actions, for how they play. I don't think half the team out there actually gave the effort. Felt like they just wanted to cruise through it. And if it wasn't for the penalty, I think we could have lost that. We were lucky to get a draw at the end because Everton deserved more from that game. They wanted to win. They wanted it more. And there's not much we can say. But this weekend is the Easter long weekend. Tottenham do play Brighton at 12 a.m. on Sunday morning, Australian Standard Time. We are back into daylight savings, people. So it is now a 9-hour difference as opposed to it's 10 hours at the moment, as opposed to a 11-hour. And then obviously when daylight savings hits England, it'll be a 9-hour, which would be good for us, probably in the new season. Most likely, I can't remember when daylight savings is over there. But we will be doing a live watch along. If anybody has any questions on that movement, we are not going to be discussing that anytime soon. That is the hashtag Voice for Spurs, hashtag Change for Spurs. It is still in its infancy, but you'll be seeing a lot more of it in the future. Just be patient, people. It's a lot of content creators getting together, and it's going to take some time to hash out the little intricacies of it. So make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you're hitting up all channels. And I want to give a shout out to Step Up Spurs. Elias over there, make sure you're going over there and watching his content and liking and subscribing his channel. Make sure you hit the notification button down below, people. And I want to hear your comments on how you feel about the Everton game. If I've missed anything, please let me know. If you differ from my opinion, please let me know. It's all we all like opinions here. And on that note, make sure you love your family. And as we always say here at Total Spurs, stay Spursy.